Okay, hi, good evening, and this is another session for us to speak about unspoken rules of conduct when you are attending a funeral. Death is painful, and many of us have been through this. And sometimes, even words, you cannot even be able to express how you feel. And once you're told how someone has lost a loved one, please avoid telling this person that it's okay, all will be well, I understand. Or you start telling them about your losses too, of how you have lost a loved one and what you did. This is one particular moment where someone, all they do and expect from you is silence. For others, during the funeral, it may look a bit odd because, for example, for us Africans, you find that some people, you've not been meeting them as relatives, they come from different areas, others had traveled overseas. And when you meet, it's more of a family reunion, which might be looking a bit odd for some other communities, whereby the funerals uh, are normally just quiet. It depends also with the background, with the exposure, and family upbringing. So you find that all these unspoken rules that we will talk about here, they vary. It depends with your community, where you come from. These are the times also when sometimes we need speakers, or speakers are called upon to speak. And others, if someone is very religious, they may use this forum to try and recruit members, asking for members to get saved, and it's a funeral, for God's sake. And others are politicians, and they look forward to speaking at this event and speak to voters for the next upcoming elections, or just to let people know who they are. And there are other people who will also view the bodies. There comes a time when you need to go and view the body of the dead ones. I'm not able to do this. It's normally tough for me, and I don't know about you. And it also depends for me also. Funerals, especially for young people, they really affect me so much, because I see a future that has been, that is a life that is half lived. Maybe if the person was young, he wasn't married, she wasn't married, she didn't have kids, and others are older. They'll die when they have grandchildren or great grandchildren. So I always compare, and anyone who dies young, it really gets to me. I feel very sad, and I don't even have to know someone. Sometimes I will just even see on the TV or hear from my neighbors, but the death of a young person makes me feel extremely sad. So, okay, so don't go saying that, oh, this person is in a better place, it's God's will, I understand how you feel, all will be well, time will tell. If you're visiting this person, sometimes the best thing would be just be quiet. If there's a service going on, there are prayers going on, then join in. If there's mass going on, then join in. But you don't have to feel that you owe them and you need to say something. You can be quiet. It's fine. It's also not the time during the funeral to prove your sense of dress, whereby you walk in with heels and they are loud. So you walk in, and attract so much attention, especially on the funeral day, or you're wearing extremely bright colors. It's best to keep the colors dull. You can do the browns, you can do the dark blues, you can do black, but preferably dull colors, because it's a dull moment. And still, once again, it depends with the age. I see some families whereby they will print t-shirts with the picture of the person who has passed on, And some of them will be indicated, a life well lived, and others, it's just a picture and the date of birth and the date of death. So it depends. It depends. All right, and some families also they would prefer to go and have some clothes stitched, so they will have like the same color clothes, and this is a big moment for them. Others may opt to buy clothes, new clothes for the person who's passed on, and others will not. Now let me tell you a surprising story. It's important for us when we are living with people, let's listen to also the spoken and unspoken words of the people we are living with. There's this family member who said it aloud in front of his relatives that once he passes on, if anyone had not contributed or bought him nice things when he was alive, then do not waste your money buying him, expensive suits and shoes or anything that would be expensive, and give it to him when he was dead. So he always said that if you're not giving me anything when I'm alive, when I'm dead, don't. So he passed on, and a neighbor of theirs passed on at the same time. So while at the mortuary, the family members who went ignored what he had said when he was alive. So they took a new suit and a pair of shoes, and they dressed him. And the other neighbor, was just in normal clothes. It was just coincidence, that the two passed on at the same time, and the mortuary was the same, in the same village. And guess what? On the day of the funeral, the clothes had interchanged. The suit that was bought for this man who had said that never buy me anything expensive when I am dead. If you're buying, you buy for me now. He was actually the suit was worn by the body of the neighbor who was in the next drawer. And when they went to bury him, they buried him with the old clothes and the one that the neighbor was wearing, as in the clothes switched. How they switched, nobody knows, nobody saw, but that's exactly what happened. They never buried him with the suit. They buried him with the other clothes. So it's still a mystery to date. There are so many stories that you hear during funerals, and you cannot ignore them. I also had another one whereby the brother-in-law refused, or he completely ignored his sister-in-law when his brother died. And as the van was leaving, he didn't call his sister-in-law to join them. And the van refused to move. It got stuck. They would try and, start it, and it didn't start. It just stopped there. And someone hinted to him that you need to let your sister-in-law come into this van. And once she did, the car actually moved. We hear so many stories like this, and you can't ignore. So let's always listen to people when they are alive. Some of them will really let you down when they pass away. And that's why it's always also good to just make peace with people when they are alive. And if you're also in the planning committee, it's good to be realistic, because this is the part where you're looking at the budget, and you need to be realistic and honest, especially if you're older. Just give your comments and say what you feel should be done and what shouldn't be done. If the food is too much, then maybe there's no need. If there's no need for drinks, if there's a budget for all these new clothes and all these things, if the budget does not allow, don't. Because again, you have to consider that there are children maybe who've been left, and they still need to go to school, so they need school fees. So it's good to be realistic and just agree as a team. You don't have to feel like you're offending anyone, because everyone needs to be guided as well. All right, and then this is not a happy occasion. So some families will reconnect and take selfies and take photos, but others will be reserved and they will not take photos. Others will take photos right where the casket is, and others will be uncomfortable and will prefer to take photos after the funeral. So you need to be aware. And then also there are small children. Maybe the parent has died and the children are small. You don't necessarily have to show them to the body of the dead parent, because it can be scary. Some people say that this brings closure, but it's not for everyone. Personally, I just feel sometimes the children are too young and it can be scary. I think after the funeral, you can show them the grave, but they really need to see their parent or remember their parent the last time they saw them, and let the memories be just those good memories. But once again, it still varies with families, but my take is that it's not fair to show the children to go and view the body, because again, it depends. Maybe the parent was involved in a road accident. Maybe the face has changed, and it can also be it can haunt the children, haunt them rather. And then also follow what the ushers tell you. You don't have to go and sit at the wrong place so that the ushers have to once again tell you to please move because you're sitting where the immediate family members are supposed to be sitting. Then after the funeral, it's important that you check in on the family, because people's lives go on after the funeral. Everybody disappears, and this family is left with a lot of challenges and no one to take care of them. So you find that is the time when they need you, most. That's the time when they need you most. So it's important that you check on them. And then once again, surely in a funeral, you find somebody answering the phone. They literally pick up the phone and converse, a lengthy conversation in fact. Let's have manners whereby our phones are on silent, because surely you can speak any other time. And this is something that we are always told, even in church, during Mass, we are told to switch off our phones or put them on silent, and you'll still hear some ringtone of some very, crazy music, the boom boom and very loud and, danceable, yet it's in church or during a funeral. So, okay. And then also you can do a face-to-face visit after the funeral, and you can also follow up with a phone call, and you can visit them a week or 2 weeks after. And if you're also around, maybe you are out, you've just jetted in from the country, particularly for this funeral, and you could be spending in a hotel or something, then you can check on them a few days after that, and it still helps. So thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate your feedback. Please click on the comment section, and clouds of blessings.